Chapter 23. Facing Cho and Date to the Ball. Miranda's point of view. The next morning. I woke up early, noticing that Severus wasn't by my side as he was when I fell asleep last night. Once my eyes adjusted to the morning light, I looked over to the nightstand and saw some flowers in a purple vase. Honestly, I couldn't help but smile big. They were white daisies, yellow buttercups, and pink roses blended to make a beautiful small bouquet. They were all my favorite kinds of flowers, and purple was my favorite color, which is probably why the vase is purple. I smiled small as I instantly knew that Severus had to have done something while I was sleeping. It was probably my birthday gift from him or something small because he wanted to, and, I guess, show appreciation. I remember when I had detention one time in the past, he asked me what my type of flowers I liked, and so I told him what I liked. If anything, I only asked Severus to stay with me last night because I truly didn't want to be alone, and he stayed. I didn't see a note or anything, so I only guessed. I smiled as I noticed Severus was in the hospital wing doorway. "It's fine, Professor. Come in." He nodded his head as he walked over and sat on the edge of the bed. We stared at each other for a couple of minutes as he noticed I was staring but didn't say anything at first. He formed a small smirk, clearly amused. "Enjoying the morning view, love?" I blushed and chuckled. "Sorry, Severus, I don't mean to stare. I only noticed the flowers in the vase, that's all, and I assumed it was from you." "It was from you, wasn't it?" "Indeed it is. Just a simple way of showing appreciation, a small gift for your birthday, given all you've been through. I know it's late, but..." "No, Severus, it's okay. I love it. Thank you, Severus, for thinking of me. I truly mean it." I softly smiled as he smiled back lightly at me. He got up off the bed and leaned down and lightly kissed my forehead. "Will I see you sometime soon, Severus?" I asked. "Of course, Miranda. Until then," he responded. I watched him leave the room as I sighed, ready to get out of here already, but with what I did, I'm not sure. It seems like Madame Pomfrey knew I wanted to leave as she checked me out to make sure I was okay to leave. I was told I could indeed be let out, and truth be told, I was glad, as I regretted what I did. Somehow, I partly forgot the reason I was even here in the first place. I looked down on my right wrist as the cuts on it were gone, and I didn't feel sick, nor did my stomach hurt. Shocked, I looked over at Madame Pomfrey to ask curiously, "How did I heal so quickly from all of this? I'm sure it wouldn't have been gone overnight." She smiled kindly and looked at me. "Well, Miss Parker, it's because when a certain potions master came in with the others when they brought you here, he asked for my help if I knew of anything that will help heal your cuts and the effects from your concoction much faster." "Wait, so Severus did this for me? He made the marks on my wrist invisible like it never happened and stopped the effects from what I did so it wouldn't do too much damage to my body or worse. He saved me." She nodded her head in response, meaning yes, I was correct after all. "You weren't breathing when you were brought here, so we had to do something quickly, but afterward he worked for a while to do something to help you. Between you and me, Miss Parker, it seems like someone didn't want you in any pain after all." I managed to crack a small smile as I was in awe, knowing what Severus had done for me. Soon afterward, I left when I was able to go. I briefly drifted into thought as I was walking in the hallway. Severus can be so bloody confusing at times, despite everything good and bad that has happened between us. I guess he wanted to care for me, or does care for me in some aspect after all. In a way, it melted my heart, knowing that he wanted to do what he could do to save me from being hurt further. I tended to notice how cold the air felt, and snow was lightly present and starting to cover the ground. Oh yeah, that's right. The cold air and snow had mentally made me remember that it's December, which means Christmas is not too far away. Yeah, I know. I somehow also forgot what month it was. Just goes to show how fast time seems to fly. In a way, it's a partial reflection of how fast time is going by. Just then, I faintly heard Hermione and Ron talking in the distance. It seemed like Ron was saying something to Hermione, like her cat ate his rat or something like that. I laughed, shaking my head as I walked towards them. They turned their heads around as they smiled, seeing me walking to them. I knew they were glad to see me and that I was okay. Hermione asked, "How are you feeling, Miranda?" "Way better, Hermione." Ron chipped in. I heard about what happened from Hermione. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm alright, Ron. I'm confused about the situation is all, because it doesn't make sense unless she's jealous." Just then Mr. Filch walked by us with his cat trotting along behind him. He gave me a really weird stare without saying a word before walking away. I shrugged my shoulders. That's really weird. Hermione and Ron nodded their heads in agreement. We started to walk outside for some air because soon classes would be starting. Victor Crumb walked by us as a small group of girls followed along behind him. He stared at Hermione as she stared at him before he walked off. I then whispered to Hermione, "Hey Hermione, I think you're starting to like Crumb more than Ron." "Shush it, Miranda," she responded jokingly and blushed. I couldn't help but giggle as Ron looked at me in question about what I was giggling about. I heard Hermione say, "Oh no." I asked, "What is it, Hermione?" She pointed ahead and I looked up ahead of us. There stood Cho Chang and she was with Cedric. I only briefly got to know Cedric before the year started when we were with him for the World Cup event. Overall, Cedric seems decently nice, or at least he is to Harry, which makes me want to become friends with him. Maybe soon he'll want to become friends with me too. We didn't talk to each other much, that's all. I didn't say anything as Cho looked my way and saw me. Hermione and Ron stood back as Cho walked up towards me. She stated in her soft voice, "Miranda, I hope you learned your lesson and to stay away from Harry. After all, he doesn't like you in that way, really. I know he likes me more as he tried to ask me to be his aide for the ball, but I'm already going with someone else." Is she really trying to pick a fight over who likes Harry more? What is with her sometimes being against me? Seriously. I also completely forgot about the Yule Ball, and I don't have anyone to go with yet. Maybe that'll change soon, I guess, but who knows? It depends on who has the guts to ask and if I'll have anyone to go with. "Seriously, Cho, I've never done anything to you. What do you have against me?" I asked. She never said a word or answered, but smiled. Something in me suddenly snapped as I punched her straight in the face. I watched as she fell to the ground, not saying a word. Hermione, Ron, and Cedric looked at us in shock. "Yeah, can't say anything back now, can you? You can't even answer me." I looked down at her. "You're such a little slut. You try to put on such a shyness and act, but I don't fall for it at all. You're probably the one who kissed Harry and tried to go with him in the first place. He's my boyfriend, I hope you know, and my best friend. You fucking slut, you kissed him." She looked at me as she tried to keep her shy look but got pissed off by what I said. She reached up and yanked on my hair, making me fall on top of her and started fighting. Hey, she's the one who started this time, not me, as she came up to me in the first place, taunting me. A minute later, Hermione and Ron rushed to the rescue and got me off of her and Cedric dragged Cho. I snapped back into reality as I tried to catch my breath. I looked at Ron and Hermione as they didn't say anything but were witnesses to what had occurred. Cedric and I looked at each other and I mouthed, "I'm sorry," as he seemed to nod his head and mouth back, "It's all right." We all looked at each other as we then saw Professor McGonagall and Professor Dumbledore come up to us. Professor Dumbledore looked towards my way and questioned, "Miranda, what happened? What's going on here?" I stuttered to try and speak, but I couldn't get the words out to say anything. Professor McGonagall responded since none of us spoke. "It looks to me that Miss Parker and Miss Chang were fighting, Albus." I sadly nodded my head and looked at the ground as Cho stared at us, not saying anything. "Is that what happened, Miranda?" Dumbledore asked as he looked directly at me. "Yes, sir," I muttered back to him. McGonagall glanced at me and Cho. "I don't know what started this, but I'm very disappointed in both of you. 10 points would be removed from Miss Chang's and Miss Parker's houses. Now, you two will receive detention as punishment." She looked at me sternly, but continued to speak. "I am very disappointed with your behavior, especially with you, Miss Parker. You'll receive detention this evening with Professor Snape in the potions classroom, and Miss Chang will receive her detention tomorrow with Hagrid in the Forbidden Forest." I didn't dare to speak or deny anything as I didn't want to get in any more trouble, as it is for my actions. But I at least nodded head in agreement about my detention as I watched Cho leave the area with McGonagall. Cho usually seems like a nice, sweet girl, judging by her voice and looks, but I guess she likes Harry too. I can only guess, but it appears like she's with Cedric, so why is she acting so cruel only towards me? Honestly, who bloody knows? I looked at Cedric, purely ashamed. "Cedric, I'm so sorry about that and that you had to witness it." "Don't worry, Miranda. It's okay. No need to be sorry. I tried to tell her not to do or say anything." I smiled softly as he smiled softly back at me. I could tell that Cedric wanted to say something else too, In a way, he seemed to understand the whole situation, and I'm glad for that. Before me or Cedric could talk further, Professor Dumbledore spoke up. Cedric, Hermione, Ron, I suspect you all have a class to be off to by now. He watched them as they nodded their heads with Hermione and Ron look at me before leaving. Come with me, Miranda, Dumbledore directed at me. I sighed and nodded my head as I walked with him, and soon he softly asked, What really happened out here, Miranda? It's nothing anymore, Professor. It didn't seem like anything to me. It got you into trouble. I sighed as I told him this whole story of how the situation came to be. After I was finished, he said, Well, I do understand where you're coming from, Miranda, and why you got so angry, but physical violence isn't the answer, no matter if the other person is making you want to do so. Knowing that I was still listening, he continued, But alas, something about this situation is off-putting. Harry is a very kind person after all. As for Miss Chang, I can only suspect her to do her part simply because it seems like she likes him and is jealous. That would be my guess. So that's why she could have done what she did when she and young Harry were talking. However, it's out of character for Miss Chang, so I assume her actions without knowing is from her directly. I guess you're right, sir. I'm not sure about anything. Harry and I have been such good friends since the first year. He's always honest with me, but it seems like Cho is getting really close to Cedric, so I don't know. Neither of us spoke as we walked, but he looked at me, knowing something was rattling my brain. I stated in concern, Sir, I'm worried that if the Triwizard Tournament keeps going at this rate, something will happen. I understand what you mean, Miranda, of being concerned, but as long as I'm around, you and young Harry cannot get hurt. If anything happens otherwise, I'll know. You have nothing to fear at the moment. He looked at me and flashed a kind smile to try and reassure me, which in return did make me smile. I only know the first task that happened because I missed it, since I kept going to the hospital wing. I know of how much stress it has been for Harry. No matter what happens, I'll still stick by him, and I hope he knows that. I haven't bothered with the others from different schools to get to know anymore. At the same time, I've been getting distracted by everything between me and Severus, so that's caused more focus on my part than other things. I know Dumbledore was trying to ease my thoughts, but I think he knows and understands why I'm worried about what could potentially happen. I believe there are some potential hidden truths that neither of us will speak of yet. Professor Dumbledore snapped me out of my thoughts by asking, Is everything all right, Miranda? Yes, sir, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking a lot. If you don't mind me asking, does it have to do with Severus, Miranda? I nodded my head and admitted, Yes, it does, Professor. I'm worried about him. He's starting to not be the same person that he was. I know, Miranda, but you have to understand that he was a Death Eater to Lord Voldemort. I know and understand how much he deeply regrets being involved with killing your parents, but Voldemort is powerful, and you know that as well. Just out of curiosity, sir, could Severus become a Death Eater again someday, like if Voldemort were to come back? It's possible, Miranda, yes, but soon you might have to try and stay away from him. But why, Professor? If indeed there's a chance that Voldemort can return, he could try to trick Severus into giving you up. But I know that Severus does love you in some way, Miranda, and he'll do anything to protect you. Professor Dumbledore stopped walking, grabbed my shoulders, and looked me in the eyes. For the rest of this year, Miranda, it will be dangerous. I, Severus, and the staff will do all we can to protect you, Harry, and all the other students. Severus is a difficult man, after all. No matter what he does to hurt you, please remember what we talked about. Okay? I nodded my head and responded, Okay. Now, off you go. I started to walk away when I heard someone call my name from a distance. I turned around to see who it was, and it was Cedric. Miranda, I wanted to officially say that I'm sorry about Cho and the way she acted. I tried to convince her not to do any of it, but she refused. Also, I heard about everything. I was hoping you were all right. We started to walk and talk in the hallway as I responded, Don't worry, Cedric, it's fine, and thank you for asking. I'm doing okay. I'm worried about some things is all. Worried about what? Just worried about Harry, and even you, that something bad will eventually happen. He stopped walking and suddenly held me. Everything will be okay. Don't worry so much, Miranda. I looked into his eyes and just realized how much of an amazing person he was. Maybe I waited too long after all to finally try and become friends with him. I mean, he seems so nice to Harry, so why wouldn't he be with me? He asked with a smile on his face. What is it, Miranda? I stated shyly. I know we haven't talked that much this year, Cedric, but I would like for that to change. I've never quite realized until now how amazing of a friend you can be. He almost blushed, I guess because of my compliment. I giggled in response, seeing his cheeks get slightly red, which was cute. Cedric, you're blushing. He laughed too and responded, Well, you are too, Miranda. I looked down, laughed along, but he lifted my chin. I smiled as he lightly kissed my forehead. I know we don't talk much either, but I was wondering if you wanted to be friends? I would like that, Cedric. Despite everything, you seem really kind. He smiled and kissed my hand as he walked away, leaving me there smiling. The rest of the day seemed to pass by fast as I was at dinner with everyone. It didn't take long to realize that almost everyone was still trying to get a date for the ball. I know it was coming up soon, too. It was normal, like it always was, really. Besides that, while I was eating my meal, I was thinking about who I could maybe go to the ball with since I didn't have a date yet. After I was finished, I then remembered I had detention with Snape. I mentally cursed myself as I started to walk with Hermione, Ron, and Harry in the hallway. Harry and I took some time alone in the hallway and talked about everything since he wanted to talk to me. It turned out that I worried for no reason. He didn't physically do anything with Cho at all. The only thing he did was ask her to the ball, but he didn't kiss her or anything of the sort. Everything that has happened between us, like that one night, we don't regret it at all, and he feels the same way about it. But with everything going on, he stated that he didn't think he was ready for a relationship and didn't want to hurt me or my feelings. Miranda, I love you, but... Harry, stop. It's fine. I completely understand. Us being young teens and at this age is quite confusing itself, but you also have a lot going on. If you want to just remain best friends for now, it's okay with me. Are you sure? The last thing I want to do is hurt you. I grabbed his hand and squeezed it as he held onto my grip. I promise, Harry. You are under a lot of pressure with everything. I understand. I don't believe anything can ruin the friendship I have with you, but if you ever change your mind someday, some year, I'm open to that conversation. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks for being such a good friend to me. Of course, Harry. We smiled at each other as he muttered, What we did, I don't regret it, and it'll stay between us. I don't want you to think... I don't, Harry, believe me, but I appreciate it anyway. I hope you and Ron find a date soon. He smiled at me as I smiled back, and he said, I hope you do too. I will continue to walk with you, Harry, but I have to go and deal with detention. I'll see you later. We smiled as he kissed the top of my forehead and walked away with Ron and Hermione, and I started to walk. But I didn't get too far as I heard George call me from a distance. Hey, Miranda, wait up. I turned around in the hallway to see him coming up to me. I asked, Yeah, George, what's up? I saw you and Harry talking. Is everything all right? Yeah, things are fine. We decided to stay as friends for now. I'm a little sad, but I'll be okay. We love each other as best friends anyway, but keeping the option open for that. He has enough going on. Oh, that's great. Anyway, I came over here to ask you something. What is it? Well, I was wondering, do you have a date for the ball yet? No, I was thinking that during dinner, actually. Why do you ask? He looked a little shy all of a sudden, but asked, I was curious if you would like to go to the ball with me. I smiled huge. Why, George Weasley, I'm shocked. I'd love to go with you to the ball. Then I watched as he got a huge grin on his face as Fred came up to us. Well, what's going on here? I giggled. Well, Fred, your brother here just asked me to go with him to the ball. Fred smiled wide, too. Nice going there, brother. They laughed as Fred said proudly, Anyways, I'm glad he asked you to go because I'm going with Angelina. I laughed. Okay, that's great. We can all go together then. George looked at me. Oh, Miranda, I also wanted to give you this. He whipped out his wand and said a spell as the box appeared in his hands. Since I was hoping you would say yes, this is for you to wear to the ball. I hope that it fits. He gave me the medium-sized box as I smiled softly and opened it. Inside the box was a lace purple strapless dress. I put it against me to see exactly if it would fit. It looked like it would fit my curves well, and it came down just below my mid-thigh. It even had lavender ruffles at the end of the dress. I was in awe and lost for words, and you can see it on my face. George may be one of my best friends, but he can be just the sweetest at times to me. For a Weasley, he can be a charmer for sure. It makes me wonder which of his parents he learned it from, or even Fred. I smiled brightly and finally looked up at them. Oh my gosh, George, this dress is absolutely beautiful and it looks like it'll fit me perfectly. Thank you so much for this. I can't wait to try it on. I love it. George and Fred both smiled at me as Fred said, Wear that on the night of the ball, Miranda, indeed. We'll be waiting to see how great you look in that. I smiled back but responded sadly, I will. Thanks, Fred. George smiled at me as I smiled back. Thanks for this, George. It really brightened my day. You're welcome, Miranda. I would like to walk with you guys more, but I have to go to detention now with Professor Snape before I'm late. See you later then, Miranda, both twins shouted as they walked away. I smiled with the box of my dress in my arm, sighing as I slowly made my way to potions for detention.